Let's have a real talk today in my tiny Toronto apartment about why do you not feel good when your life supposedly looks so great on paper? This is something that so many of us we experience, especially as we get older. We've ticked off the things, we've gotten married, had the kids, got the house, and are in a well-paying job, and all of a sudden we wake up and we're just like, why am I not feeling good about my life? I have so many patients in my practice who experience this. And I've seen this pattern, and a few things show up again and again as to why we experience this or feel like this. And even me, even though I haven't checked off all those things, I've checked off a few of them, and I thought that they were going to bring me the peace and happiness that I thought I would get, but then they didn't. And as we get older, if we're not careful, we're going to experience this more and more. And it's so important for you to understand this now so that from today onwards and moving forward, you can truly build a life that makes you feel fulfilled instead of a life that makes you feel empty, even though on paper, everything checks off. So important. If you're new to this channel, my name is Dr. Bisley Natley. I help people rewire their brain naturally. I'm a naturopathic doctor. I'm certified in cognitive behavioral therapy. And if you have watched any of my videos, you know how passionate I am about this topic because I once struggled significantly with depression and anxiety, and I love nothing more than watching someone struggling with their brain health completely transform it, rewire it in the matter of a few weeks and get to a place where they're just feeling so good about themselves. So here's truth number one as to why you feel so empty within, even though your life on paper looks so good. And one of the biggest reasons probably why is because you built your life based on what everybody else told you to do. And this is just so sneaky, so sneaky. Because when you think about what society deems as a successful adult or life, right? It's to get married, have a family, have kids, have a well-paying job that at least 100 grand a month, buy a house, have a property. And you check all those things off and you're just like, I still don't feel good about myself. And it's because so many of us, unfortunately, did not take the time to think about what does a fulfilling life look like to me? What would make me really happy? If money wasn't an issue, what is that thing that I would want to wake up and be doing every single day? And this doesn't mean that you now need to go quit your job or get a divorce or any of these things, but it's more so just taking this moment to really reflect on your life and ask yourself, is your life really even yours? Or did you just create a life that you thought you were supposed to create based on everybody's expectations and society's standards that they set for you? A lot of us don't know this, but we have been primed with these standards from a young age. We've been told these from our parents, from school, from movies, from just everything as to what is supposed to be this like perfect life that we're supposed to live. And then so many of us live it, and all of a sudden we're just like, well, that doesn't make me happy. Well, oh, I'm in like so much debt because of this house, and I'm like, I don't even know if I really wanted it. Or I got into this relationship, I got married because I thought this was what I was supposed to do, but I don't even know if this is the right person for me, if this is what I really even wanted. And we don't take the time to really sit and think and reflect about this. And it's so important that you do. One of the reasons a lot of us struggle with our brain health is because we're not being intentional about our life. We're just waking up and living our day on automatic. We're living our day based on what everybody else tells us to do, never once thinking, is this what I actually want to do? And the more intentional that you can get about your life, the more power that you take back. And the more intentional that you get, the more that your life starts to be aligned. Stop leaving your life up to random things. You need to take back power and control of your life. And so it's okay if you've done all these things and you're not sure if they're right for you, but what you can do from now moving forward is to make sure that you're living a life in alignment with yourself, that you're setting the right intentions for yourself so that moving forward, your life feels like something that it's good for you. So literally take a moment right now. Get out a pen and paper. Like if you're actually serious about feeling fulfilled about your life, you need to do these things. And go through these different areas of life, like your career, your relationships, your health, your finances, your spirituality, whatever else a section or of life that you can think of. And I want you to go through and look at what are the things that you have in that area right now, right? So you might be married, you might have kids, you might have friends, you might have family members, and look at what are those things in that area. So that was relationships. What are the things in the area that fulfill you? And if you were to feel deeply fulfilled in that area, what would you want? So maybe you go through the relationship section and you're like, okay, I have a great group of friends, but then you really reflect on them and you're like, but hanging out with these people doesn't ever make me feel fulfilled. So that means that the next step for you is to get intentional about the people that you're spending time with and making sure that you're hanging out with people who actually help to make you feel deeply fulfilled. And you can at least go about now changing that. right? If your career, you're just like, okay, I really hate my job. Okay, so if you were to feel deeply fulfilled with this area of your life, what would you want to be doing? And what's that one first step that you can take to now take back power and control of that area of your life? And slowly by slowly, this is how you take your power back through intention in little bits of areas of your life so that you can actually wake up and feel fulfilled with the life that you're creating instead of just living it on random and going based off of the standards that everybody else has given you. And that's really the big issue and problem. And I remember, when I was working on overcoming my depression, because I ended up in the hospital because my depression and anxiety got so bad at one point in second year university, I literally went home and I wrote down every single thing that I felt like was wrong in my life. And I set about changing every single one of those things. Every single one of those things. Let me tell you, that list was so long, like so long. And so you can do the same thing. You can, moving forward now, build a completely different life that actually makes you fulfilled instead of it being based off of the standards that everybody has set for you. But it's going to require work from you. It's going to require action. It's going to require reflection. And it's going to require you facing the hard fact that the life you've built for yourself right now is not fulfilling, that it's actually making you miserable. And that can be the hardest thing for most people to face because our brain loves it when we are in a comfortable place. Why do people never change? Because it's so easy and comfortable being in the same spot, and our brain loves that. So if you want to truly create a fulfilling life and you're deeply unfulfilled right now, get used to the pain of change, the discomfort of it. You have to. But on the other side of that is a life waiting for you where you're waking up every single day and being like, I'm so excited to get out of bed. And let me tell you, because I've lived life on both those different realms, waking up every single morning and being so excited to get out of bed to start the day is the way to be, my friend. And through it, I've had to go through so much pain to get to that side of building a life for myself where I truly and deeply feel like that. But it was so worth it. So worth it. All the relationship losses, the friendship losses, the business losses, all of those things were so worth it. And that is what I want for you. I want you to see your alarm clock go off, and instead of being like, oh my God, another day, I want you to be like, boom, let's go. I'm so excited. I'm ready to start my day. That's what I want for you. And you can have that too. Woo! This is just like hyped me up. And that's why I'm also so glad I'm recording from home instead of the office, because I feel like at the office, I just have to be contained. And I'm just like, this is like my true self right now. So honestly, I feel like I'm just going to start recording from home because I definitely get super self-conscious when I know people can hear me. And let me tell you, the walls of my office space, they're so thin. I can literally hear, I can basically hear people breathing on the other end. Okay, so imagine if they're having a meeting or I'm actually talking instead. So the other reason why is because you are just not present in your life. That's the other big reason why we can have everything, but if you're not present to it, how can you ever feel good about it? And so much of this comes from our limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are essentially beliefs that we have about ourselves and the world around us. It's our belief about how we fit into the world around us. And oftentimes, the name limiting beliefs, they're often limits. And so I can also think about in my life, whenever anything good would happen to me, I would just not give myself permission to feel good about it. I felt like I needed the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And it just felt like no matter how many things I would get, none of them would ever fill that deep void that was inside me. And so many of us can have these beliefs of what we feel like we deserve, of not feeling worthy or good enough with what we have. And so what ends up happening is that our brain is always looking for the next thing, always looking for the next thing. And this takes away from our ability to actually be present in our life, which is such a shame. You could have worked so hard at building a beautiful family, at getting to that career stage, at getting a house or whatever else it is that you've done in your life. But if you don't give yourself permission to feel good about it because you inherently and deeply feel like you're not good enough, it's like, what was the point of that? Seriously, it's like, what was the point of even doing any of that? And so it's so important for you to take a moment to think about, what are the beliefs showing up in your life right now that are preventing you from feeling good about your life? What are those beliefs? Is it the belief that you're not good enough? Is it the belief that you're not deserving of good things? Is it the belief that you're a bad person or that you're a failure? Because all of these beliefs will prevent you from feeling good about yourself, from feeling deeply satisfied with where you are right now. And it's really sad too. I talk to my patients about this all the time, is that understanding our world and our society is not designed to help you feel good about yourself. Our world thrives on us feeling insecure, on us feeling like we're not good enough. And this is why we live in a consumer world, right? This is how big corporations get you to buy stuff, because they constantly remind you every single day of why you're not good enough. And this is why most of us spent our entire lives living in stress and anxiety, feeling like the next thing is going to be that thing for us, but it never is. And so you need to get clear on these beliefs. You need to look at what are the beliefs that are driving the behavior. Another way to think about it too is thinking about identity, right? Who is the type of person that doesn't ever feel satisfied about their life and the life that they have right now? Think about that. Who is that type of person? Because once you can identify that identity and who that person is, then you can also see why you're not giving yourself permission to feel good about the life that you have right now. Because your brain will always act in alignment with the identity and version of yourself that you believe to be. So if your identity is tied to someone who is not deserving, to someone who's a bad person, to someone who's unworthy, then your brain is going to act in alignment with that. And no matter what you get in your environment, you will never feel good enough. And you'll always be on that hamster wheel thinking the next thing is going to be the thing that gets you there, but it's not going to be it. I literally remember a few years ago, I did a TEDx talk, which is supposed to be like a huge achievement. And I didn't even apply for the TEDx talk. Someone nominated me, and I went through a series of applications and interviews to get to that place. And I literally spent months. I worked my booty off in writing that script. And no, I did not use ChatGPT. And I had, they gave us like a coach to help us teach us how to write that, speak that TEDx talk. My biggest regret of that TEDx talk, I don't really promote it much, is that just my personality just never shone through it. And I wish I just had the courage and the confidence that I have now at that time to really give myself permission to be super authentic during that TEDx talk. But whatever, you live and you learn, and I'm probably going to do another one in a couple of years. We'll see. But essentially, I did that TEDx talk. It was during COVID time, so it was all virtual and online. And I had a huge viewing party at my place. I think we had a limit of like 50 people that we could have over at that time. And so I invited all my close friends and family, and it was such a huge celebratory moment. And I just remember watching that TEDx talk, and it was supposed to be a moment of celebration and feeling proud, and I felt nothing. I was already thinking about what's the next thing that I need to do. Like, I just look back at that time, and I'm just like shocked at myself, because I'm just like, I didn't give myself time to feel good about anything, any of the accomplishments that I've had. And I do a much better job today of giving myself permission and space to celebrate, to feel good. Doesn't necessarily mean I need to pop a champagne bottle, but just to give myself permission to just fully feel good about my accomplishments. And it's made such a big difference in how I feel about myself, and most importantly, my life. Because the truth is that if you can't feel grateful about what you have now, where are you going to get more? Why is the God or universe going to be like, let me give her more or him more, when you are despising everything that you have right now? Gratitude is the cure to all of that. Just feeling grateful about where you're at and what you have. And I just think that so many of us need to practice gratitude more. So many of us need to practice gratitude more, because our brain is constantly being wired to look at what's wrong and what's missing. And that on its own is affecting so many people's mental health. And the last reason as to why you potentially feel empty, even though your life on paper looks really great, is because of who you are choosing to show up as right now. I really want you to think about, who is the version of you that's showing up and coming up right now? Is it the best version of you or the worst version of you? Because usually when we start to feel really empty in our lives, the version of ourselves starts to match that. And we stop showing up as that best version of ourselves. And I want you to really look deep and ask yourself, are you really showing up as the best version of you? Are you taking care of you? And this ties so well into the second point that I made, because sometimes when our life gets really good, it's almost like we hit our thermostat of what we think we deserve in life. And so we sabotage, and then the worst version of ourselves starts to come out, because we feel like we're truly not deserving for the life that we have. And so tune into it, right? Are you complaining all the time? Have you stopped taking care of yourself? Because all of these things are going to affect your ability to feel good about yourself and your life and where you are now. Because everything outside of you can be good, but if you're not taking care of you, if your energy is shot, you're barely sleeping, you're not moving your body, you're not eating healthy foods, you're not being mindful of the words you say and the things that you think in your mind, then you're not going to feel good. No matter what outside you is happening, you're not going to feel good, because you're not taking care of you. That always, always, always has to be number one. So, this is a checklist that I want you to go through. And most importantly, what I want you to remember is that you have the power and control to feel good about your life. So many of us are waking up every single day, living our life on random, not being intentional about our life. And I want you to take that power back. I want you to start being intentional. Life is too short to play at random. Seriously. Way, way, way too short. And if you want support in rewiring your brain naturally, I got you. Use the link below to book a free 30-minute clarity call with me.